Maggie Steiner. Maggie Steiner had a wonderful childhood. She went to school in Vienna and spent her summers with her uncle and aunt and her two cousins in the mountains of Austria. And Maggie Steiner's summers were perfect. Uncle Seb, Auntie Helena, and cousins Joseph and Franz lived in Klein Edelschrott, a very small village in the Austrian province of Styria. And Klein Edelschrott consisted of only a handful of houses, a very small chapel that was only used for special occasions, one of which being a chapel of rest for when someone had died. And that was it. The shop came once a week in a van, and the nearest Gasthaus was 4 kilometres away. But there was plenty to do for Maggie and her cousins. There were mountains to climb, forests to hide in and play, and an icy cold river to swim in the heat of the summer. And most importantly, the freedom to do whatever they wanted. And because the 3 cousins were more or less the same age, they made perfect playmates. Together they had wonderful fun. But then one day Joseph and Franz played a very mean prank on Maggie. Joseph and Franz persuaded Maggie to ring the bell at the chapel at exactly 11 a.m. Maggie had readily agreed. Such a chance didn't come every day. The 3 children ran to the chapel. Joseph unlocked the door, and in went the children. Getting the key to the chapel had been easy. It was Auntie Helen's job to take care of the chapel, and the very big key to the very little chapel lived hanging up on a hook in the kitchen. And so they were ready. Franz and Joseph showed Maggie what to do, where to stand, and how to pull the rope, very slowly and counting to 10 between every pull. And then, on the dot of 11, Maggie Steiner started ringing the bell, very, very slowly and counting to 10 between every pull. And Maggie was happy. What a great way to have fun! And the bell Maggie was ringing could be heard far and wide. But then came the people. They had stopped what they were doing and had hurried to the chapel. And there they found Maggie happily ringing the bell. But the people weren't happy. They looked anxious and sad. Who had died, they wanted to know. And then in came Auntie Helena, and Auntie Helena was furious. Why was Maggie ringing the bell? It turned out the bell Maggie was ringing was the death knell, the bell that is rung to let everyone know that someone had died. Maggie was very embarrassed. She was old enough to understand she'd been tricked in a very nasty way. But where were the twins? They were hiding, of course. But when they got home there was trouble, very big trouble. Franz and Joseph were sent to bed without supper and weren't allowed out the next day. But time goes by very quickly, and soon the bell-ringing prank had become something to laugh at. But this prank has never been forgotten. The day that Maggie stood in the chapel, rang the bell, and called the people to come. Maggie Steiner. She had a wonderful childhood. Maggie Steiner.
Talk 49.